Hello students, welcome to Social Science online classes. Today in this session we shall discuss Aligarh Reformation Movement, Ramakrishna Mission, and we will also discuss about Swami Vivekananda and much more. First we shall start with the Aligarh movement. Aligarh movement. The founder of Aligarh movement was Sir Syed Ahmad Khan. The movement that Ahmad Khan set up as the center of Aligarh was called the Aligarh movement. Where it was set up? It was set up in the movement started in Aligarh. Who started it? Sir Syed Ahmad Khan started this movement in Aligarh. So it is called as Aligarh movement. Okay. By the end of 19th century, new social and religious reformation was set in Muslim community. What happened? By the end of 19th century, new social and religious reformation was set in Muslim community. And by this time what happened? Anti-British sentiment, means opposing the British sentiment, became strong after 1857 revolt. After 1857 revolt, what happened? The Muslim community started to oppose the British. So anti-British sentiment became strong after 1857 revolt. So they stayed. So the Muslim community stayed away from the British education. After 1857 revolt, they set a anti-British sentiment, and so the Muslim community stayed away from the British education. As a result, what happened? The Muslims missed away many opportunities which were based on the English education. Okay, there were many opportunities which were based on the English education. So the Muslim community missed the opportunities which were based on English education. During this time, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, during this period, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan started a new movement. What time? When the Muslims missed the opportunity based on English education. During this time, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan started a new movement. Okay, so the Mohammedan Liberty Society was established in 1863. The Mohammedan Liberty Society was established in 1863 CE. Okay, then they started debates and discussions on the issues related to religion, social and political issues. What started in this society? Debates and discussions on the issues related to religion, social and political issues. Okay, the upper and the middle class youths participated in these discussions and realized the importance of education. Okay, see who participated in these discussions? The upper and middle class youths participated in these discussions and they realized the importance of English education. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan declared that Quran is the only trustworthy book and other works on Islam are derived ones. What he declared? Sir Syed Ahmad Khan declared that Quran is the only trustworthy book, that is authoritative book, means it's a trustworthy book, and other works on Islam are derived ones. Okay, so he said one has to explain one's own religion according to the changing times. What he declared? Sir Syed Ahmad Khan said, one has to explain one's own religion according to the changing times. Otherwise, what happens? Otherwise, religion becomes stagnant or inactive. Okay, so Sir Syed Ahmad Khan fought against traditions, superstitions. He fought against traditions, superstitions, ignorance, and irrationalities throughout his life. He said, without an open mind, any social and intellectual development is impossible. And he did not support the Parda system. Okay, you see, Sir Syed Ahmad Khan did not support the Parda system for Muslim women. He called for educating Muslim girls. It means he supported to give education to the Muslim girls. He did not accept polygamy. What do you mean by polygamy? I have explained you multiple times in while coming across the history chapters as well as sociology chapters. Polygamy. What do you mean by polygamy? Marrying more than one woman. That is called as polygamy. So he did not accept polygamy, or he opposed polygamy. All these aspects were part of his struggles. In order to implement his ideals into practice, he founded Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College in Aligarh. What he founded? In order to implement all his ideas and in order to bring all his ideas into practice, he founded Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College in Aligarh in 1875. He used this institution to spread the Western scientific and cultural ideas. This institution later became Aligarh Muslim University. Later, what it became? This institution later became Aligarh Muslim University. Okay. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan preached religious tolerance. He worked for the unity among Hindus and Muslims. Hindus, Parsis, Christians donated liberally for the establishment of Aligarh College. Admissions were open for students from all religions. Okay, the movement created by Syed Ahmad Khan, keeping Aligarh as the center, is called as the Aligarh movement. Okay. Now we shall discuss Krishna Mission. Ramakrishna Mission. Who is the founder of this mission? Ramakrishna Mission or Ramakrishna Mutt? Who is the founder? Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda founded Ramakrishna Mission at Belur near Calcutta in 1897. Okay. Ramakrishna Mission has contributed a lot to India's spiritual growth, nationalistic awareness and cultural development. What it is? Ramakrishna Mission has contributed a lot to India's spiritual growth, nationalistic awareness and cultural development. This mission was founded at Belur near Calcutta, already I told you, by Swami Vivekananda. Okay. Later, Ramakrishna Mutt was established at Mayavati near Almora of Uttaranchal. Ramakrishna Mission was founded to carry the message and thoughts of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Okay. Ramakrishna Mission was founded to carry the message and thoughts of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who lived from 1834 to 1886. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was spiritual guru of Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so he was a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was a spiritual guru of Swami Vivekananda. He was a worshipper of Kali and also a priest at Calcutta Kali Mandir. He said that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said that one can attain moksha and bhakti. What he said, Ramakrishna said that one can attain moksha only through dhyana and bhakti. He believed that all religions advocate the same. Okay, he believed that all religions advocate the same. He believed that there are many ways to reach moksha and the God. He also said idol worship is unavoidable. What he said? He said that idol worship is inevitable or unavoidable. Okay, now we shall discuss about Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda. He was born in 1863 in Kasta family in Calcutta. Where he was born? Swami Vivekananda was in Kasta family in Calcutta. He studied both Western and Eastern philosophies. Okay. He roamed around India for about 5 years after the death of his guru. Due to this, he could understand the social reality of India. Swami Vivekananda worked to establish a casteless society. He opposed caste system. Swami Vivekananda opposed caste system and worked to establish casteless society. Okay, so he could see that the society was deeply involved with caste based discrimination, and he also noticed exploitation, poverty, illiteracy, and divisions among the Indians. Swami Vivekananda believed that people should be educated first. Okay, what he believed? He believed that people should be educated first, then only we can bring the changes in the society, or then only we can see the changes in the society. He wanted legal institutions. He wanted legal institutions to implement rules to support reformation or changes. He also wanted people following the Western ideals blindly. He believed it is the duty of religion to provide light. Okay, without this, religion is itself is of no use. Okay, what he believed? He believed it is the duty of the religion to provide light or to provide knowledge to the people. Without this, the religion is of no use, he declared. The one who responds to the poor is Mahatma. He said that one who responds or one who helps to the poor is Mahatma, and the one who doesn't is Duratma. What he declared? He said that one who helps the poor people or one poor people, he is Mahatma, and one who doesn't help or one who doesn't respond to the troubles of the poor people, he is Duratma. He opposed caste system, untouchability, and the idea of supremacy based on caste system. Okay, the Westerners could understand The Westerners could understand the cultural richness of India with the help of a speech delivered by Swami Vivekananda at Chicago Chicago City in World Religious Congress in 1893. See here, Swami Vivekananda delivered a speech in the World Religious Congress in 1893 at Chicago City. Okay, he attracted the attention of the listeners while speaking at Congress of Religion held at Paris in 1900. His speeches his speeches mirror his nationalistic ideas. His speeches shows the nationalistic ideas. Interestingly, he had visited Mysore before his visit to Chicago as a guest of Chamaraja Vadayar X. As per the suggestions of Swami Vivekananda, Chamaraja Vadayar X started schools for untouchable children. See, when he visited, fortunately, once what happened, Swami Vivekananda visited Mysore. He visited he visited Mysore and suggested Chamaraja Vadayar X to start the schools for the untouchables. Chamaraja Vadayar was influenced by this and Chamaraja Vadayar X started schools for untouchable children. Swami Vivekananda wrote books on Jnana Yoga, Raja Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. His thoughts provided impetus to freedom struggle, and he asserted that freedom includes social equality. What happened? His thoughts gave encouragement or inspiration to freedom struggle, and he asserted that freedom includes social equality also. Now we shall, okay dear students, now we shall discuss Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. What? It is Sri Narayana Dharma Paripalana Yogam. Okay. Sri Narayana Guru started Reformation movement in 1903. What it is? Sri Narayana Guru started Reformation movement in 1903. This started Elevu of Kerala. Where it started? This started in Elevu of Kerala. This movement aimed at strengthening the backward and exploited communities. What it is? This movement aimed at strengthening the backward and exploited communities. Narayana Guru and his companions, Dr. Pallappu and Kumaran Asan, led the movement. Who helped Narayan Guru in this? Was helped by Dr. Pallappu and Kumaran Asan led the movement. The caste differences were too much in Kerala and there were many prohibitions. What it was? In Kerala there were caste differences. Caste discrimination was too much in Kerala and there were many prohibitions in that place. During that period, all were not allowed to use facilities like tanks and roads. They were banned from wearing footwear. See, the lower communities were not even allowed to wear footwears. They were banned from wearing footwear. Restrictions were there on women's dress also. There were lot of restrictions on women's dress also. These communities had to live without basic human rights. Okay, so these communities, the lower communities, had to live without basic human rights. In order to address this issue, Sri Narayana Guru started Dharma Paripalana Yogam movement. What he started? In order to address this issue, Sri Narayana Guru started Dharma Paripalana Yogam movement. One caste, one religion, and one God for human beings was the basic idea of Narayana Guru. What is one caste, one God? One caste, one religion, and one God for human beings was the idea of Sri Narayana Guru. Okay, education is the only way to achieve this, he declared. Narayana Guru declared that this would be possible only through education. He built temples for the backward communities as they were not allowed to enter into the temples also. Narayana Guru and his companions started Vayakom movement. What started? Narayana Guru and his companions started Vayakom movement. It is a temple entry movement in 1924. Gandhiji and Periyar, the architect of self-respect movement, participated in this. Narayan Guru started Vayakam movement, that is a temple entry movement in Gandhiji, Periyar and Gandhiji and Periyar. Periyar, he too was from Kerala, uh, who is the architect of a self-respect movement, participated in this movement. The temple entry movement of Guruvayur temple was a major incident. Okay. Now we shall discuss. By the beginning of the 12th century, a non-Brahmin movement started in South India. What it started? By the beginning of the 12th century, a non-Brahmin movement started in South India. The majority non-Brahmins launched agitations demanding representations in the government sector as per their population. It became a major movement. It became a major movement in many states like Karnataka later. The non-Brahmanical communities opposed restrictions against them. Okay, so this was possible due to the English education. The census reports published after 1870s provided a picture of their population. The Justice Party started in 1916, continued the movement in Tamil Nadu. Okay, Periyar movement. Highlights of Periyar movement, or it is called as non-Brahmin movement. The non-Brahmin movement started in early 20th century. It was started by non-Brahmin caste which were now educated, wealthy and influential. The non-Brahmins argued that Brahmins were the successors of Aryan invaders. They conquered southern lands. They conquered southern lands from the native Dravidians, who were the original inhabitants of South India. Okay, so E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, who is famously Periyar, was born on September 17, 1879 in Erode in Madras Presidency. He was called, his name was Erode Venkata Ramaswamy. What was his name? Erode Venkata Ramaswamy. He was a son of a popular rich merchant in Erode. He was married at the age of 19 in 1898. But he took family renunciation in 1904. Here renunciation means sannyasatva. Okay. He took family renunciation in 1904 because of the harsh criticism of his father. He took family renunciation in 1904 because of the harsh criticism of his father and reached Kashi. Okay. But he couldn't find any comforts in Kashi, but he returns back to his family in 1905 and then onwards started selfless social services. Okay. In 1926, Periyar started self-respect movement. Okay. He was a Sanskrit scholar. His objective for the self-respect movement was to fight for the dignity of untouchables. What was the objective? His objective self-respect movement was to fight for the dignity of untouchables. He felt that untouchables had to free themselves from all religions to achieve social equality. He criticized Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. Okay, Periyar criticized Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana. Okay, now we shall discuss the aims of self-respect movement. Though these aims are not mentioned in your books, I am explaining them. Better note it down. Note down the aims of self-respect movement. The first aim of self-respect movement. First one, encouraging backward castes to have self-respect. What is the first aim? Encouraging backward castes to have self-respect. Second one, to improve upon the socio-economic conditions of low caste Tamils. What it is? To improve upon the socio-economic conditions of low caste Tamils. To inculcate, third one, to inculcate and spread knowledge of political education. What is the third one? To inculcate and spread knowledge of political education. Fourth one, to lead the life with dignity and self-respect. Fifth one, to abolish evil social practices. Sixth one, to give protection to women rights. Seventh one, to establish homes and educational institutions for orphans and widows. Okay, this movement gained popularity and became a political platform. But what happened? There was a great opposition for Periyar's views among the upper caste nationalist leaders. So, Dharma Sabhas and Bharata Dharma Mahamandala were started to counter Periyar's movement. Brahmana Sabha was started in Bengal. The main aim of this was to uphold caste distinctions. Okay, the forceful speeches, writings, and movements of lower caste leaders made the upper class leaders to think. Debates and struggles over caste continued beyond the colonial period and are still going on in our times. Okay. Thank you and have a good day.